Let's give a big, big warm round of applause for Amy Saidman! Oh, and she's sassy, and she's sexy, and you don't even know the half of it. But you'll hear about it. Amy Saidman.
Hello, sexy people. Sure. Let me go down on this mic. Isn't smoking fantastic? I know. It's exquisite. It's delicious. It's sexy and luscious. Am I wrong? You bring your hands to your lips. Take a deep breath in and you hold it for just a moment. Like, how many times during the day do we pause? And then, as slowly and as leisurely as possible, watching our breath come out. It is one of my favorite things in the world. To take it in and watch my breath come out. And if it weren't so disgusting and deadly, I would do it all the time. See, I know how to smoke because my sister taught me. We actually had a smoking lesson. I was in 7th grade, she was in 9th. We scheduled a lesson, we set a date when my parents would be out of town, and we hatched a scheme. See, Debbie, my older sister, had a friend named Kathy Cummings, and Kathy Cummings had parents who smoked. Unlike my very wholesome, clean-cut parents, her parents smoked, which seemed exotic and crazy. But anyway, she talked to Kathy, and Kathy was to steal some cigarettes from her parents, and we were to walk the 2 miles to her house to get the stolen booty and walk the 2 miles back, which we did. So there we are in my parents' basement, getting ready for this lesson, and I am nervous, and I'm excited. See, my sister was cool. I mean, she was objectively cool. It wasn't just like a little sister thinking her older sister's cool. Like, she was universally accepted as cool at Ridgeview Junior High. So, have you heard of her? Debbie Saidman? Sleep with? No, kidding. Kidding. So, I mean, she had perfectly feathered hair. She wore awesomely tight Jordache jeans that she had to get someone else to help her squeeze her hips together and then use a hanger to zip it up. Anybody else? Okay, some 80s people, thank you. I need some of my peeps in the house. So, and she had boyfriends, like fuck-up boyfriends that drove Camaros. Meanwhile, what I had was super frizzy, insane hair, like pleated Lee jeans that were on sale in Reading, Pennsylvania. You been there? The outlets? That was before any other outlets. And I had no boyfriend. Now, whereas she had, her wall was covered with teen beat headshots of Scott Baio, Sean Cassidy. I had, someone else jerked off to, yeah. What I had on my walls was, and these I thought were amazing, were the fold-out posters that I got from my World magazine subscription of animals, and then that special one that was glow-in-the-dark that I put on my ceiling that had the constellations. So you get it, right? You get where I'm going with this. Debbie was cool, me not so much. I got good grades. She raided my parents' liquor cabinet, which they didn't even notice for like 10 years. They drink so little. But anyway, back to the lesson. So we get to this lesson, and she was a good teacher. She told me all the things someone should know. Not just to smoke, but to smoke well, right? Smoke like a cool person. So lesson number 1, bring to the lips, inhale, take the fingers away on the inhale. You with me, smokers? That's what you do. You don't just hold it there. Nerds hold it. You take the fingers away like you have nothing else to do, and then you bring them back. Right? Now, lesson number 2, do not kiss the cigarette. Icky, right? No wet, no fish lip, right? So you had to learn to kind of fold the lips under, right? Not quite, not like too folded under, right? A lot of finesse with this. Lesson number 3, what was lesson number 3? I don't know. But she did teach me, also there's kind of like a karate belt ranking of like smoking skills as you go along. Like, so you might start with just the plain old thing, then you grow to being able to, light it and inhale and exhale at the same time, no hands. The no hands exhale. And you could graduate to the nose exhale. That was a really good experience. And you knew you really arrived when you could do the rings, which, by the way, I'm really good at. So anyway, I learned, and I started out with, your simple sneak into the woods and smoke, which then led to some, smuggling packs of cigarettes to the teen club dance, which then led to, I had a friend whose mother would just buy us cartons. We'd spend weekends smoking with her mom and playing quarters with whiskey. I don't know. So I had these adults in my life feeding me cigarettes. I had this weird teacher who wanted to be every kid's pal, and we'd just ride around in her Camaro. I made it to the Camaro. We'd ride around in her Camaros, smoking Virginia Slims and singing to Bryan Adams. It was the summer of '69. So I acquired quite a love for cigarettes. And that's one of the biggest reasons. Cigarettes became everything I associated with being grown and sexy and being free and wild and breaking the rules. My parents never knew. To this day, they don't know, actually, that I ever smoked for 25 years. And, I just felt so free. I felt like I could do anything because I could smoke. I was such a badass. And that turned into, as I got older, associating it with leisure time, because when I think of smoking, I think of porches and beaches and vacations and indiscriminate sex and drunkenness and really good things, And so, it's not just nicotine, right? And I'll be honest, I was always a social smoker. I never, went through a pack a day, not even a half a pack a day, probably not even half a pack a week. But it still became something that I had a hard time letting go of after a while. I was doing all right. Oh, what big deal? I'm a social smoker. Who cares, right? I can do this. But little by little, I started having, I would actually be in the middle of a conversation, maybe with someone super hot even. But what I would be thinking of is, when am I going to go be able to go have a cigarette? So that was clue number 1. Maybe it had gone too far. Clue number 2, freezing cold, rain, sleet, hail, didn't matter. I'd be outside. I'd be I'm just gonna, outside, in whatever weather condition. Okay, clue number 2. Clue number 3, I just kept getting sick, right? And, so finally, there were 2 main sort of events that kind of finally pushed me to be all right, it's time to stop smoking. I kept trying. And one was, forget, so big, so monumental, I don't remember. Oh, okay, one thing is I turned 35. Now, before 35, you hear the commercials for the pill, and you don't listen to that fast talk at the end. You're like, yeah, whatever. But the fast talk at the end is and if you're over 35, you really shouldn't smoke, motherfucker, or you're an idiot. You will die, and it will be ugly. That's what they say. And I had ignored that till bing! That was me. That was me they were talking about. And, you know, there are so many bad things that cigarettes do, but none of those warnings were actually put on the commercial. So the whole pill with the cigarette must be really bad. Anyway, so that, and then I really so when that kind of hit, I really started to try not to smoke. But I went to this party, so it had been a little while. You know, when you get it out of your system, it's a little harder to start up again. Just a little while, and I went to this party, and I was so uncomfortable. It was a great party, but I was like at least 10 years older than everybody there. I felt ridiculous. I didn't know anybody. And so I ended up going to my old standby. Someone's poem was about like how many strangers you bonded with. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go have a cigarette. So I head up to the rooftop, and I start having the cigarette. I bum off with someone, so we start bonding and having a conversation. And I take a few drags, and within seconds, I swear to God, I thought I was going to die. I started to sweat. I felt like I went green. The whole place, I'm not even exaggerating, everything was spinning. I hadn't even been drinking, so it wasn't the drink. Thought I was gonna throw up. Anybody who had been near me got freaked out and kind of like inched away. Like, okay, we're gonna go now. You do your thing. So they disappear. I find myself alone, bracing the railing on the roof, trying, like praying that I will not puke. And then I had to sit down. I had to sit down and wait till it passed. It might have been a hot flash. No, I'm kidding. But, and then, you know, and that was it. And I was like, this is not freedom anymore. This does not feel liberating. This feels it felt more trapped than liberated. And I felt like those people, again, like that person who, no matter what's going on outside, is just like in the corner. I was just like past someone on the street. Clearly her friends were all in the restaurant having a good old time, but she was like out standing against the wall of the restaurant, just like, you know, getting her smoke on. It just didn't look fun or satisfying or exciting or anything. And I felt like, okay, this is where I am now, and I don't want this anymore. And that was the last cigarette I have ever smoked.